Alright, good people. Give me just a moment to get set up here. And there we are. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Despite the odds, because I'm tired. But you know what? We're going to do this anyway. As soon as I get some people in the room. Alright, guys. I can't be the only one. Tracker, how you doing, bud? It's good to hear from you as always. And Karen. Karen's... Karen, how you doing? I was trying to read your full name, but I realized I was gonna have to put my glasses on, but I'll just call you Karen for short. It's good to hear from you as well. Thank you for stopping by, everybody um, who's in here so far. Okay, so I stepped outside of my box a little bit, and I read an Iron Man comic. And I'm not. It's not that I haven't read an Iron Man comic before, but Iron Man is just not one of my tops. So for me to read one here now was a big step for me. Of course, I've delved in the absolute Batman world, and I've read some absolute Wonder Woman. I've been reading some Infernal Hulk, which reminds me, I haven't read the latest issue, so I need to take care of that. But um, the point is, I've been reading more lately. Heidi, how you doing? And Jake also. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. So I've been reading a little bit more lately, and I'm going to get back into doing my comic recaps as often as possible. You will be back, Karen. You're more than welcome to come back. Do I know who you are, Karen? That's the question. But in any case, thank you for stopping by. But I'm working on my regular schedule, and I think I'm going to start doing my comic recaps during the day on the weekdays. When I get on at around 11 or 12, I will do some of my comic recaps then, as well as showing some of my doing some of my back issue box tour. So I'll be doing that throughout the week, and I'm trying to force myself to read comics more because I don't read as much as I used to, obviously, but I want to start reading more. So giving recaps is a way to force me to read more comics. And trust me, it's not that I don't like reading comics. It's not that I don't want to read comics. It's just that I have been so busy lately um, that I don't have as much time. When I opened my shop, I had less time to read comics. Imagine that. You open a comic shop and you have less time to read comics. But anyway, um, here we are. Devin, how you doing, Devin? So like I said, I stepped outside of my box and I read an Iron Man comic. In fact, this one, Iron Man Disassembled. And I don't know if he's in here, but G Black gave me the idea. One of my followers gave me the idea to read this comic, and so I actually there's not a lot of excitement in the comic. There's not a lot of action in the comic. There's some, but not a lot. But I actually liked reading it. So um, who knows? I might become an Iron Man reader regularly. So here we go. I was waiting for more people to get in, but I'm only going to be on here for a few minutes anyway. So um, I'm going to go ahead and give my recap on Iron Man 4. So also keep in mind if you're new to my recaps, um, please understand that I don't read or talk about things verbatim. I put things in my own words and explain the comics in my own way. So that way, when you read the comic, you might get something a little bit different out of it than I did, and that's my whole point. Sergeant Frosty, man, how you doing, Sergeant? Also note that when I'm doing a comic recap, I focus on the comic recap. I don't want to do back issue box tours while I'm doing a comic recap, and that happens a lot. And not that it makes me upset or anything, but I love when people want me to respond, or if they ask me if I have certain comics. But I'm going to dedicate times and days to do that specifically. My comic book, my back issue box tour. PJ, how we doing, man? So I'm not going to spend time today, this little 20, 30 minutes on back issue box tour. I'm going to focus on recapping this big boy right here, Iron Man number 4. So at this point, I'll have to tell you that you um, if you plan on reading this comic and you don't want any spoilers, this is a good time to turn your volume down because otherwise, you're going to learn a little bit about Iron Man number 4 before you read it. Because I'm about to spill all the tea on Iron Man 4. If my um, camera doesn't fall. There we go. All right, so Iron Man 4, Disassembled. It starts off with a teacher who has apparently won the Tony Stark Award. And I'm assuming that this award is awarded to people who have a some sort of a genius level intellect. And it cuts back and forth to different scenes because also apparently um, this teacher has been kidnapped, and so it's cutting back and forth to him talking with with a student and trying to encourage and inspire the student to be great, to him working on a some sort of um, maybe an Iron Man helmet, maybe to get it to work to do something specific that he's trying to do, which I'll explain in a moment. The specific thing that he's trying to do with this armor. Um, but it turns out that Tony Stark has also been captured. And both of them, along with a group of captives who are of high intellect, they have been captured and they are trapped above a helicarrier, a shield helicarrier, that has been commandeered by AIM. AIM has taken over a helicarrier along with Madame Mask and the Fixer. Now, Madame Mask and the Fixer are both villains, of course, and I want to say at one point the Fixer may have been a member of the Thunderbolts. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. Because a lot of you may only know of the Thunderbolts from the movie. That's not the original Thunderbolts. The original Thunderbolts was, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I missed that series. The original Thunderbolts was a group of villains who pretended to be superheroes to win over public trust so they could become more effective villains. Now, I know I probably went and I tied your mind in a knot there, but what they did was the villains, altered their costumes to make them look more heroic, so that the public would trust them more, and they created the team called the Thunderbolts. And some of the members of that team, I can't remember everybody who was on that team, but one of them was, for example, Screaming Mimi. Now, that name sounds goofy, but Screaming Mimi had this ability to make this sonic scream, and she looked like a mime kind of. Excuse me. She looked like a mime kind of, and she can control her scream. But when she became when she joined the Thunderbolts, she changed her abilities, but with some kind of a device, I believe. And instead of just making the sonic scream, she created solid objects out of sound, and she called herself Songbird. And she even had wings made out of sound. It was awesome. Another villain was the Beetle, and if you know anything about the Beetle, he has this suit of armor well, it was basically a suit of armor, and I think he could shoot sonic blasts and stuff like that. Well, he became um, some kind of a, I forget what his name was. But his suit became like a like a mech plane, like a almost like a transformer mech suit that was like a plane or something. And it's gonna kill me if I don't find out. I gotta ask Alexa. Alexa, what was the name of the Beetle when he joined the Thunderbolts in Marvel Comics?
Abner Jenkins, also known as the Beetle, joined the Thunderbolts as Mach 1.
Mach
He's
1,
quite
that
the
was it.
character, starting as a villain to
Okay, that's
eventually
enough,
becoming a
Alexa.
superhero.
Thank you. But yeah, he became Mach 1. I don't know how to remember that, but his
You're
costume was
absolutely
awesome.
welcome. Hope you have an amazing rest of your evening.
Thank you, Alexa. And then, uh, and then there was Baron Zemo. He became Citizen Z, and his whole costume changed. And so there were all these people. I think there was maybe a giant man or something who I forget all of them. But anyway, you get the point. So that was the original Thunderbolts, which I loved way better than this movie that Marvel came out with. But anyway, so I'm at some point I want to say the Fixer was part of this, but I can't remember for sure because this was a while ago, quite a while ago. And Adrian, thank you for joining in, by the way. So Citizen V, not Citizen V, the Fixer and Madame Mask, along with AIM, have taken over this helicarrier, and they've captured all these intelligent people, and they're trying to use them to create some weapon that they are. I don't know what weapon they're trying to create, or maybe I think the Fixer has his own plans. And Quicksilver, what comic are you talking about exactly? The Quicksilver. I'm not even sure if I know who this is. Unless you're talking about a Quicksilver comic, I'm not sure what you're talking about. But in any case, um, the Fixer has commandeered a bunch of weapons that some of the captives have made, and I think they were forcing them to make these weapons and gadgets and stuff. But the Fixer has collected these, and he's trying to convince Madame Mask that he might be able to use all these weapons to make a suit of armor. But that's not Madame Mask's plan, apparently. Uh, but we'll talk about that later. It cuts scene to Tony Stark. He's trying to fix a suit of armor, make something out of nothing, basically. And he's having difficulty doing it because he doesn't have all many parts to do this. So he has found or commandeered um, Mysterio's mask or armor parts, whatever it is that warps reality or causes illusions. He has found that with Mysterio's mask. So Tony Stark is um, trying to do something with this mask and use it to help him escape. And the mask apparently is also imbued with technology and Mysterio's maybe some kind of magic actually, maybe some kind of magic. And Alexander, I might answer that question in a minute, but I want to finish recapping this comic that I've read today, if you don't mind. But I'm not a big Lantern fan. But well, just real quick, if I had to say so, it would be John Stewart because he is an artist and his constructs are part of his. He uses his art in his constructs, and I'm somewhat of an artist myself, so I can relate to John Stewart a little bit. Plus, I like his stoic sternness as a Green Lantern. But I'm going to do this recap real quick. Okay. So you've got Mysterio's technology that creates illusions, and I think if I read this correctly, Tony Stark said something about magic. But anyway, he tries to use it to escape again, and then the illusions take over, and the illusion of Spider-Man kind of busts him up, and he loses the ability to escape. He knows Spider-Man's not real, but he Spider-Man defeats him. The illusion of Spider-Man defeats him, and turns into all kinds of warped spider creatures. And, well, not all kinds, but some kind of warped creatures and stuff. You can see that, and he loses his ability to escape. The constructs, the illusions overcome him, and he cannot escape. And so he goes back to the drawing board, and all of a sudden, well, he keeps trying. He keeps trying over and over and over, but the illusions keep um, defeating him. There you go. They keep defeating him. He succumbs to the illusions and loses. But then, at some point, something tries to contact him through this Mysterio mask armor that he's fashioned from whatever parts he's gathered, and someone tries to contact him through this, and he's like, well, that's different. Usually, I'm trying to project out, but now something's trying to project in, and it turns out that it is this teacher who has been kidnapped as well. If you remember, the teacher was trying to construct some kind of a Iron Man armor mask, but this teacher, who turns out to be a genius, so you remember, they kidnapped a bunch of highly intellectual people because they're trying to manipulate them and use them to create some kind of weapon. All right? So the teacher has figured out how to use the electricity or electrons or whatever in your mind with technology, because he believes that at some point in the future, technology and um, humans are going to somehow merge, and he's figured out how to use the electricity in your brain to with this armor helmet that he has. He's figured out a way to combine them as some form of communication, and that's why he was able to communicate with Tony Stark through the mask. So Tony Stark asked him, "Hey, can you connect us?" And he does. And so they're talking, and this teacher is feeling a little down his luck because he feels like he's not accomplishing anything. He can't get the mask to work or to do what he wants it to do. And Tony's like, dude, you won there's a reason you won the Tony Stark Award. You the ability to be able to do this, is amazing. And the kid's like, or the teacher, he looks younger. That's why I call him a kid. He looks like a student. That's why I call him a kid. But he's like, I'm not used to this kind of stuff. I'm not you, And Tony's like, well, you ain't got to be me, but you're definitely you, and you are cooking right now. So um, then it cuts scene to Pepper Potts and Luna, who I don't know much about Luna, but apparently she is a pop star turned superhero or something like that. But they're trying to find Tony Stark, and they can't get a clue. They can't find anything until they happen upon some bunker, I believe, and they go in and they're looking for Tony Stark, and all of a sudden, Citizen Z. Great, I got restricted, probably for showing parts of this comic. Great, but I'm going to finish it anyway. So Citizen Z appears in this bunker, and he's looking for something that Tony Stark stole from him. Of course, my neighbors are going to rev their car real loud. It sounds awesome, though. But hopefully that you guys can still hear me pretty well. But he appears out of nowhere. He drops his smoke capsule. I guess he finds whatever he's looking for, and he disappears. And I thought that maybe that was the Fixer dressed up as Citizen Z, but then I think I'm wrong. But anyway, it cuts scenes back to the Fixer, and the Fixer's working on something. And Madame Mask is monitoring Tony, and she's trying to get Tony Stark. She's waiting for Tony Stark to create something, some genius level, whatever. She's hoping that he creates something that she can use, some type of weapon or machine that she can use to help her take over whatever she's trying to take over. And so she's been watching him this whole time. And I believe this is why he was able to find like the parts he was able to find, because she allowed him to help him be able to create something, some kind of weapon or something. And he's sitting there working, and she's watching him. And while she's watching him, she's talking to the fixer, and the fixer's like, "Hey, we can do this. We can do anything to build whatever this is he's trying to build." And all of a sudden, Tony Stark's monitor, he starts talking to Madame Mask, and she's like, "What? How are you doing this?" He's like, "Oh, I figured out some stuff." And again, keep in mind that I'm recapping. But he's like, "Oh, I figured out some stuff. So you just hold tight, and I'll be right there." And she gets on the intercom, and she's like, "Hey, security, everybody to Tony Stark's bunker. You know, hurry up and get to his bunker because he's figured something out, and we're cooked." And all of a sudden, kaboom! Tony Stark, he crashes into whatever, and they start shooting him, and he's already created this suit of armor from whatever parts he was able to find, and probably with the help of this teacher, who's also genius level, and they start fighting, and the fixer's like, "What's going on?" Is he's like, "Shut up and move, come on, let's go get him." And she grabs a weapon, and apparently this weapon is able to overcome Tony Stark. So she shoots him with this weapon, and he's incapacitated. Despite the fact that he's been, wrecking shop with the AIM agents, this weapon that she got um, stopped him, and so she um, she goes after him, you know, and when they go to unmask him, it is just a shell of armor. It's not even Tony Stark. So he used that as a diversion, and she's like, "All right, everybody, fan out, go find him." But while they were fighting that suit of armor, he decided to try to help the prisoners escape because Madame Mask told him that some of the prisoners, um, if he would join her, she would let some of the prisoners go. And he's like, "What do you mean, some of the prisoners? Where are the rest of the prisoners?" And she's like, "Some of them are still here," or something like that. And he's like, "Well, where's everybody else? Where are the rest of the prisoners?" So he's going to find out while they're fighting the suit of armor. And he finds some of the people, and all of them, keep in mind, are intelligent. All of the captives are intelligent because they're trying to use them to build something great. And one of the captives says to Tony, "I was about to escape. I didn't really need you anyway. I was about to escape, especially since I built this big bomb." And Tony's like, um, "What exactly did you build?" And all of a sudden, there's this big kaboom on the side of the helicarrier, on the side of the helicarrier, and this Mickey Flicky has created something that's blowing up the helicarrier while people are still in it. And so the helicarrier starts going down, and Tony's trying to help everybody evacuate, and the teacher is like, "Hey," he's like, "Let's go this way." Um, he says he saw something, I guess, on the hub, that they could use to escape. And as he turns to lead them towards this escape or whatever, he gets shot, or I don't know if he was shot. No, it had to be shot. Yeah, he got shot, and his face is melted, and his body's burning. And Tony Stark catches him and is holding him in his arms. I'm gonna get another restriction. I'm gonna show it anyway. Tony Stark is holding him in his arms, right? And he looks up, and out of nowhere, there's this monstrosity looking down at him. And this monstrosity is the fixer who has built a suit of armor out of all those weapons and all that stuff that these geniuses have created, and he builds the advanced Iron Man. And this Mickey Fluky looks like War Machine on steroids. And he is about to drop the hammer on Tony Stark. And his final words are, all right, now let's see how smart you really are. So that is the closing scene, people. The advanced Iron Man, who is really the fixer, in this suit of armor, hovering over Tony Stark, who has this husk of a man. Well, not really a husk, but I don't even know if the teacher's still alive or if that, whatever the fixer shot him with, unalived him. I'm not sure. But that suit of armor looks like Tony Stark is about to have a tough time. So I don't know how he's going to get out of it. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if the advanced Iron Man is going to capture him. Um, I can show you the next cover. Probably gonna get another restriction, but I'm gonna show you anyway. Number 5 looks like this. So I don't know if Tony Stark is gonna get a suit of armor and fight this dude, or I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen. But having read that, now again, keep in mind, I am not a Tony Stark fan at all. An Iron Man fan. I like Iron Man, but I don't normally read Iron Man comics. But that one is going to make me read the next one. It's going to make me read the next one. All right, guys. Now let me see if I can go back and respond to some people. I don't think anybody was making any comments or anything. And Quicksilver, I still don't know what you meant about do I have your comic, unless you meant a Quicksilver comic. So if you're still in here, let me know. All right. Well, that was my take on my recap on Iron Man number 4. I'm going to sign off because I'm going to get on again later tonight, but I've got to go get some food. I haven't eaten anything all day, and I'm hungry. So I'm going to get on again tonight, probably around 9, and I'm going to try to game a little bit. And my game should be broadcasted to YouTube. So I probably won't be on TikTok. It'll probably be on YouTube. So if you would like, and I would like, for you to follow me on YouTube, Game Over Comic Shop on YouTube. Game Over, one word, Comic Shop, one word. Or at Scavenger's Hunt. You can find me. Hopefully I'll be gaming. I might play Destiny, which I haven't played in like years. I haven't played Destiny 1 in years, but I might play that tonight. We'll see what happens. I'm not great at it, so you can come and have quite the laugh at me or with me. whatever happens. But I'll be on again tonight. Maybe around 9. All right. So, gaming. Follow me on YouTube. Game Over Comic Shop. As Kevin Shump Hunt. I'll see you guys later. You guys know the routine as always. Stay safe. Stay awesome. This is Scav here on Scavenger's Hunt. I love you guys. I'll see you later tonight. Take care.